I'm gonna use my pencil to write Miss Kramer. You're gonna write your name. As you can see, you can use the pencil on this special foam core to make a print. It actually works, but it makes an indentation, almost like if you're carving into it. If you can see it makes it like an indentation. You go inside of it. That is what is gonna help us make a print. So I'm gonna say Miss Kramer. And on one side, I was going to show you how to make a turtle. On the second side, so we're going to make a turtle. And on the other side, we're going to make a shark. So we're going to make first turtle because we voted and students wanted to see the turtle first. You're going to write your name and you're going to write your class code. So in case you didn't get it finished to make your prints, next class when you come back, you're going to make a print. So yours would be HU3 here. I'm not going to put a class code on mine, but you're going to put HU3, okay? So mine is Art 101. But you can run your hand over, this is a latex board, sorry, styrofoam board, my bad, styrofoam. Same thing that you would get in a box from takeout, but these are purchased specially for art in a pack. So I got them on Amazon. So first, I am going to lightly sketch, and you can do that with me, but don't push hard. And so I was gonna use a marker so it's easier to see on the video because this might be a little harder to see. So I'm gonna start. I can do it turn this way or the opposite way. I can do. I'm gonna start with an oval because if you see the main shape of the turtle is an oval, and then I'm going to add like a little outside marginal. That's the edge of the turtle edge shell. See how skinny I went here? That's why you want to go light at first so that if you make a mistake, you can fix it, okay? So if you're doing your pencil, do not push hard. Don't try to get it indented yet. You're just drawing on top of it very gently, okay? Because you're gonna fix it then, and then you're gonna start pushing in so you can make that indentation, which is gonna help you make print, okay? And you see that this is one. How many edges do we have? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hexagon. So if it's 5, if it'd be like that, it would be pentagon. But like 6, it's a hexagon. And we have 1, 2, 3, almost 4, but at least 3. So it starts with a little triangle, straight edges, and a little triangle down. And then you just outline the next step. Okay, as many as you can fit inside of your particular oval. I was able to fit, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can even fit 6 ones, so mine is pretty big. Then I'm just gonna connect it to this edge. Okay, nice and simple. I'm just connecting it from each triangle edge to the end of the edge. And that has created my shell to my turtle. So right now, this is kind of like an answering sheet of the anatomy for the turtle. And some of these are like high school term, lateral, posterior. So posterior is in the back. So there's a little tail, like a little triangle. And we're gonna do the head now. And it looks like the neck comes out a little wider. Then there's a little division. And then the head is kind of like a half oval with the eyes of the turtle on the side, okay? Eyes on the turtle are on the side. As you can see, the fins of the shells are really perfect for swimming, and they go on the side sort of like this, but they're round. They're round and they get wider as they come closer to the neck. So it's a round look and they get wider as they get closer to the neck. And same thing with these flippers, they go kind of like this. They're kind of wider so she can get as much water If you ever wore a flipper swimming, it helps you uh, compel yourself faster in the water. So also we can do little textures. This is gonna look good on the print. Sort of like little, almost like scales, but like little textures. And I usually just do different sizes of circles that overlap. Um, and that creates a pretty cool texture for the to differentiate it from the shell. So, and I'll do the same kind of thing for the flippers. And I'm gonna do the same kind of thing for the head. So that's gonna really pop when we are doing the print. You could also just do little U's, if you wanna add some texture to the head. Just don't cover everything. That way it's gonna work. It's gonna give you some contrast here for the eyes, so you don't lose the contrast. Now you're gonna start pushing in, and when I push in, actually the black kind of disappears, but that's okay because we know that we did it correctly. You're gonna start pushing in, and you can make many lines, like interrupted lines, or push it in so that you have a little bit of indentation. When you have that indentation, you can run your finger over it, and it's gonna show you that you have depth in it. That depth is gonna allow you to then later, the paint is gonna get in there, and you're gonna be able to make a print. So you wanna go over everything by now pushing. You went gentle first, and you pre-sketched everything, and now that you're happy, you're gonna start pushing, indenting it in. It doesn't matter what color. I could even do it with like a blunt, not too sharp pencil, blunt, and I can go over all those lines. And I broke it because I was pushing so hard. But if that happens to you, just change a pencil. But yeah, it actually, with the blunt one, you kind of get almost deeper because you're not afraid that you're gonna go to the other side and pierce a hole. You don't want to do that because we're gonna do the shark on the other side, just so we have two different kinds. So use your blunt pencil and keep pushing until you get that indented in. So I'm just indenting on my drawing. Okay. It's almost like I'm erasing the black, but really I'm like pushing it into it. So that's what it looks like. It's kind of hard for you to see, but when you push, you will see that it will happen. Okay. I broke another one. Like I said, I'm pushing on it, and it probably happens to you too. I can actually just use a broken one. It works too. It's just going to give you a wider edge, or change a pencil. It's just going to give you a thicker indentation. When I use the broken one, that's what it did, a thicker indentation. So I actually don't mind, because on the edges, I don't mind that this indentation on the edge is going to be thicker, because it's going to be different than the ones on the inside, which are going to be a little more delicate. So I don't mind if it's thicker. And I'm kind of just pulling in one go on both sides, as you can see, like I'm as if I was carving. This can be done on a linoleum, but it's much more harder because you have to carve all of those details in on linoleum. And I'm actually just changing some of my textures. I'm doing kind of like a U instead of a circle now when I'm indenting the textures in, as you can see, kind of doing little U's like scales. But you can also do little lines, anything to make it look like texturized. I'm gonna go to the other side. And my marker was erasing because I was using dry erase, so I could have more control erasing it and making corrections before I would make the print. So using a erase marker could have been good too, because it's gentle, it's soft, and it doesn't make indentations. So if you have dry eraser marker on the hand, that's good too. But you can see how raised it is, right? A little bit, maybe. So you want to go over all the lines many times until you get that raised bumpy edge. When you run your finger over it and it's bumpy and raised, it actually feels like a turtle shell now. Because, and if it doesn't have the raised edge now, make sure it does. So go over all the lines a couple of times until you get that raised edge look, the raised edge look. Okay, so go over all your lines, make sure everything is nice and scratched in, so you are ready to then learn how to make the part 2, which is making the print. Of course, I went fast because of the video, and the directions, but at the same time, I also want to give you directions that are gonna be next. So you're gonna get a paper. This one matches, so this paper is the same size as your print. This is where you're going to make this a little, and also there is questions. This is how you're gonna grade yourself. So you're gonna get a paper, you're gonna fill this out, and you're gonna ask yourself, art shows care and neatness. So you gotta grade yourself. 5 is yes, very much, and 1 is not at all. So from 5 to 1, it's sort of like 5 is an A, B, C, D, F. 1 is F. So are tools used with care and properly? Did you follow directions? Did you use everything with care and properly? C, demonstrated I can goals. Use techniques taught. So I can make a print. So if you made a print, you would give yourself a 5. So used effort, creativity, and originality. Score how much you think you earn in these areas, okay? What I liked about the project and anything else that you want to say. So once we are ready, we are going to make a print on this paper on the side, okay? And you're gonna choose which side you're gonna print it. Either you're gonna do the shark on one side or you're gonna do the turtle on the other side, and you're gonna print it. So I will show you how to do that. We actually have to show that in part 2. I'm gonna pause the video, but we are going to actually take a little bit of water and gently go over the paper to wet it, but not to, like, it can't be too wet or it's gonna tear, because it's gonna just break down. So it has to be just damp, not like soaking wet. Then we're gonna take the card, and once we put the paint or the water-based markers, which are also water soluble, that's how I will make my print. Then we are going to push really hard like that, and the turtle will imprint on this side. So I will show you how that's done in just a little bit. But first, I wanted to show you how to do the shark, and then we all gonna go to part 2. Okay? So I'm gonna now pause the video, check in, and see how you're doing. Back, and I have a little bit of water, and I have a thick brush, so choose a brush that is thicker like this. I'm gonna take my paper with that I have to then grade myself how the printing went, and I'm gonna choose one color for my turtle. Maybe I'm gonna choose the dark green, but it's up to you which color you want to choose. It can be black too. You can also do black and green, so that's no problem. So what you're gonna do is very gentle one slice from side to side. Make sure you don't dump it so much that it's gonna fall apart on you. The paper will break down. You just want one layer of wetness, so you see that it turns a little bit clear like that. That's enough. You don't need more than that. Then when it's wet like that, put it aside, and then go back to your turtle. I'm gonna put it aside just a little bit. I'm gonna go back to my turtle, and I am going to color all the indentations. Don't color the white ones because you want these in colored. So you wanna go to all the indentations we made with a pencil, and you wanna make sure all of it, all the marker goes into those indentations really good and firmly, so that it can show you the contrast. The white will be the contrast. So don't paint over the white with your marker. just go over all the indentation areas, okay? All the indentations areas just like this. Now, if you want to make a little bit darker brown, darker color, you can also use a little bit of black like I'm using here. I'm going to go slightly over it like that, over all the areas. This black looks like a dark green anyway. So I'm going into all those indentations like that. Actually, I'm going over the small places by coloring. In there, I just, because there's so many indentations that there's not too many white spaces for the contrast, so I just do that way. So I did the flippers, and I did the head with black, and I did my turtle shells in green. If I wanted to add a little more of this color in there and get in there, I could. That's up to you. Okay, you can blend it or add it in the way that you, until you're happy. Then you're gonna take your paper and you're gonna align it. As you can see, it's the same size. So at this time, very carefully lay it on top, and then you're gonna start rubbing really hard. A good way to rub is actually use the same marker you used to apply pressure on, like a roller. Okay, I'm really sliding it over and making sure that I'm not moving the styrofoam. It needs to be staying in the same place. Okay, and I'm just gonna keep pushing really nice and hard and going over all of the stuff that I made, and then I'll lift it and I have my print. And when it dries, it will be a perfect print. Then you can take your pencils and you can go over it, or you can make another print. Okay, so you can also color it with chalk or add any kind of colored pencils details on top of it. But basically, you can be making this print over and over and over. So you draw it once, and then you are ready to apply your turtle like a sticker to anything you want. You made your own stamp right now. So you can be using it indefinitely almost, to where you can make a perfect print every time. Okay, and I see that the head didn't work really well. So if that happens to you, like some parts are not really done well, redo it, put some marker on top of it like this, and go in there or reapply. Maybe it wasn't wet enough, just put a little bit water over that area. Maybe it was dry there. As you can see, it wasn't that transparent. Maybe for that reason it didn't work. But don't make it too wet, because then it's gonna spread. The ink is gonna spread all over and it's not gonna be a clear print. So you don't want it to be too wet. And then align the body as best as you can, kind of look where the head is, kind of measure it so it best as you can, and then print again over the parts that you're missing. So I'm gonna push down and bam, now I have my head fixed. So I have a perfect print like this. Da 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 da. Give me a round of applause. Thank you. And while you guys are still working on your other turtle, I'll make sure I'll show you how to do a shark. So I'm gonna be doing this one, and we are also learning some science. Okay, we're learning, for example, shark measurements, total length, fork length, dorsal fin. Dorsal is on the back, is straight. Dorsal fin is on the back. Dorsal means back. Dorsal fin. Dorsal fin is this one on the back. Dorsal fin. Secondary dorsal fin is the number 4. Distance between dorsal fins, number 5. So from this one to this one is the distance between these two. And that's what, when you measure shark, that's what you would measure, right? Mouth corner to corner, number 12. So you actually measure this distance to, if you want to do shark measurements. So this is called the caudal fin, and the distance is 8 from here to here. And this was our training for all the classes, more like secondary as far as all this anatomy and physiology. But we should know that we have fins on the sharks. and we should know a little bit about the anatomy, the slits, the gills that we have here. Okay, pectoral fin, number 9. That would be this one, pectoral, on the side, pectoral. Okay, so now we're gonna draw our shark. So let's go ahead and turn your print on the other side. I am gonna sketch a shark kind of like a long oval, almost like a long oval first. That's what I'm gonna start with, like an long oval. And in the middle of the long oval, I'm gonna make a fin like this, okay? And then I'm gonna go ahead and do this caudal fin here. So it's like 2 triangles. One goes this way, and one goes this way. It's like a triangle type of fin, okay? Like that. Now we need the pectoral fin, and it's about 1/3 into it. So it starts here, and it's like a triangle kind of shape, okay, and comes from the side. Then we have the gills, slits, so 1, 2, 3, about 5. Then we have an eye. This looks like a mako because the eye is so big. Makos have a big eye like that. Then we have the slits, nasal slits, and then we have mouth, which kind of looks like upside down, like if he's mad a little bit, and teeth coming from there, okay? It looks like a little bit too thick in here, so I'm gonna fix him to make him a little bit slimmer. Maybe I can erase it like this, and that works using your brush that you're gonna use for paper wetting. You can erase and make correction. Okay, so I want him a little bit thinner. It looks like this fin also, and I should use paper towel really to wipe it so it's dry, because if I put the marker on the wet, the marker's not gonna work. So it almost goes to a point here, so I fixed it, goes to a point, and then these two kind of meet this way. So we have at least the main components of the shark. There's few small things like this here, tiny little triangle like that. There's kind of like a line that's just coloring kind of thing, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing I did before to make the print. So I'm gonna start pushing and creating those indentations again. I'm gonna push and create those indentations, the mouth, nose. I'm gonna go carefully now, indent it on top. And you could see how I was using the marker for sketching, that I had to make some corrections. So that's a good way. If you have a paper towel, you can correct yourself if you made a mistake. And I'm just going firmly over all the areas that I want to print a couple of times so they're big enough. If I wanted a little bit more detail, more precise, don't use like a really broken one, which is good for the big areas. But like these, these are fine. But use detailed pencil with a better point to get into the small areas, okay? Such as if you want to draw the teeth, you can do that, or the slits. It will help you make a little bit better drawing if you have a sharper pencil. So once you go over everything like we did with the turtle, you're gonna get that paper, and the other one should be dry by now, so you can actually grade yourself on the other side. And if it's not dry, that's okay. We can wait. And now we are going to make a shark print. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a marker. I'm gonna push in all the crevices I made. I'll go over all those indentations I created, okay, with my marker. So choose like probably one color. Darker colors work better than lighter. You will not see anything if you make it with yellow. It's just not gonna come out. Dark colors like purple or black will work. Do not do any light colors for sure. They will not show good. It will not work for you well. So once I have enough color, I am going to, just like I did with the turtle, I am going to take my brush and gently wet my paper. I'm gonna gently wet my paper. That's almost too much. So I'm just kind of trying to spread it a little bit this way. So squeeze some extra water because you don't want it too wet. Like I said, it's gonna tear. So just a little bit wetness is enough. And then even tap out some extra because you don't want it to be too wet. So that the definition, sometimes if it's too wet, it will spread out like it's doing here. It's gonna spread out and the detail is not gonna be clear. So once you have that done, push your, and we did the turtle on the other side, but now we're trying to do the shark print. Push your shark, align the styrofoam with the paper and start pushing down. The way we did it is we used the pressure of the side of the marker by pushing down and getting it all very firmly pressed over the paper. And you can see, and this was just really quickly, but you can take your time. I just want to make it short for the video, but I was able to create my print. Give me a nice big round of applause. And that's what we're going to be doing today. And we reviewed a little bit of anatomy. And don't forget, you're going to also grade yourself on the back. And now is your turn.